Can you really make six figures a year as a wedding planner? And can your wedding planning business match or even exceed your corporate salary? These are two questions that I'm asked all the time. And so that's why today I'm going to answer them here in this video. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Candice Coppola, your business BFF, former wedding planner and designer turned business coach for wedding pros and planners like you. If you're a wedding planner who is starting, growing, or scaling your wedding planning business, do me a favor, hit subscribe. I make content here on my YouTube channel for wedding planners specifically, teaching you everything that I know about growing a wedding planning business. And today we're talking about income and if you could grow your wedding planning business to six figures. The short answer is a yes, you absolutely can. It is very possible to make $100K or more a year in your wedding planning business. But just because something is possible doesn't mean it's easy. And what I would love to share with you today are some ways to fast track that income goal so that your wedding planning business can actually match your corporate salary or exceed it. So that's what we're talking about today. Now, I grew my wedding planning business into a six-figure company within the first 2 years. And there were some things that I did back then in the dark ages when I started my business that really helped to propel me forward. And what I have done is I have modified some of the steps I took, but also I'm sharing with you the steps that my students have taken to grow and scale their business and what's working for wedding planners right now in 2025 who want to hit that six-figure mark. Now, before we dive in, I want to let you know that I have a free masterclass for wedding planners called my 100K Playbook. And in this masterclass, I'm teaching you the 4 pillars of growing your business to 100K. You definitely want to check out this masterclass. It is your roadmap to growing your business to six figures. Go to CandiceCoppola.com/100K to learn more and to register today. All right, let's talk a little bit more about how most planners are capping their income and what might be preventing you from actually hitting 100K in your business. So if you're like most planners right now that I see in the industry, you are either charging $1,000 to $5,000 for wedding planning packages, really nothing more than that. You're working 1 million hours a week, especially during wedding season. It's like you're working 24/7, 7 days a week. You might be burning yourself out and you just can't be consistent with your marketing, with your business tasks and things that you really know you need to prioritize in order to scale to the income level you want to get to. And you may be plateauing at about 30K to 50K per year in your business. So you can't seem to get past the 50K a year. And I'm talking what you pay yourself, profits, not just in sales. You just can't seem to get past that number. And you might even be wondering, like, is it even worth it to keep going? I can't seem to bring in the 6 figures a year salary for myself as the owner. So is it even worth it to keep going? Should I keep wasting my time, dumping my energy into my business and money? Because you're spending money in order to make money in your business. This is what I see most wedding planners struggling with in that 2 to 5 year mark in their business, and sometimes even sooner. If you're watching me and you haven't even started your business yet, you're in such an amazing place to learn how to not make all the mistakes that so many of us make. The thing is wedding planning is one of the most stressful jobs in the world. And I really think that you need to be paid well in order to do the work. And I think 6 figures is freedom. And it's actually the bare minimum that we should be asking as income for ourselves based on the stress, the workload, the demands, the clientele. We can love our jobs. That doesn't mean that it's not hard. And I think 6 figures is the bare minimum. It's the bare requirement for the work that you're doing. So yes, it is possible to make 100K and more as a wedding planner, but it's not necessarily easy if you keep doing business the way that you're doing business right now. And you need to make 3 shifts which we're going to talk about next in this video. And like I told you, I have my 100K Playbook Masterclass where I'm going to go into big detail. So I've made 100K, well, more than 100K, almost 200K on a single wedding, okay? A single wedding. And I talk about this in just incredibly how you go from 2K packages to almost 200K in income from one wedding. I started with a 2K package, so I understand where you might be right now. Just know it's possible to make a lot more, even if you don't want to work in the luxury wedding market, which you don't have to in order to be more profitable and to hit that six-figure income goal that so many wedding planners have. So let's talk about the 3 shifts I think you need to make in order to get your first six-figure year or to be able to match your corporate salary. The first is I want you to think less like a wedding planner and more like a CEO. Most wedding planners treat their business like a side hustle, and it may have started that way, or a passion project, which it is, but your business is a real business, and I want to make sure that you're treating it as such. So if you run a business, you need to think of yourself as a business owner first and a wedding planner second. This is what I teach inside the Planner's Playbook. It's what I talk about here on YouTube, on my podcast, in my mastermind. It's really important. It's a little mindset shift, but it makes a very big difference in how you approach doing things in your business, making decisions, etc. And so this means that you need to do things like setting financial goals and creating budgets for your business, tracking your revenue and expenses, investing in things like marketing, education, and systems. And one of my favorite quotes by James Clear, who, by the way, I love the book Atomic Habits, and I love James Clear's newsletter. So go and sign up for his newsletter. It's so great. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And so if your systems aren't in place in your business that allow you to serve clients and to be able to create the income goals you want, you're never going to get to match your corporate salary or get into the six-figure range in income. And the moment that I stopped treating my business like a side gig and I started treating it like the business that it was, my income changed. And I was able to grow my business into that six-figure mark. The second shift I want you to make is to focus on building your network. Now, you know that old saying, your network is your net worth, but it's true. The wedding industry is relationship driven. Who you know is going to make a difference in how you grow. And I know you think I'm going to say this is all about referrals, but that's not the only reason why you need to focus on your network to make 6 figures or more as the business owner. I truly believe that you're just the average of the people that you surround yourself with. So if you are only around people who are struggling, then guess what? You're going to stay stuck. If you are only around yourself in your own bubble, you're not going to see what's possible for yourself through the eyes of other planners. If you're only around the people in your market, the vendors in your market, then you're not expanding how you can think and do things differently based on watching or talking to people who live in other countries or live in other states or counties or whatever it's like where you are. You need to make sure that you're building a network, not just of vendors that you refer and refer to you, but a network of people that you can learn from, get ideas from, find out new ways of doing things from, and be inspired by. And the biggest mistake that planners make is trying to do business alone. Really, wedding pros in general and small business owners in general is trying to figure this all out on your own. You don't have to do that. You know, I believe that you shouldn't have to do business alone. And I think in order for you to scale and grow, you need to do something different than what you're doing right now, and you need to do it in community. So I want you to connect with other planners. They're not your competition. Of course, you can connect with them in your own state or city or country, but I want you to even look outside that and try to meet people in other places. Join an online community, go to a networking event that is more national or not just in your hometown. Go to an in-person conference or some kind of wedding industry event where you can meet new people, but I want you to meet people outside your area. I also want you to connect with venues and other vendors that your ideal client is working with, and we're going to talk about that next. Now, I've had some of my best clients come from vendor referrals, and so this shift absolutely applies to making sure that you're prioritizing your local relationships. But I don't want you to just be limited to local. I want you to expand beyond just where you are planning. Now, the third shift you need to make in order to grow to six figures or match your corporate income is you probably need to attract better clients. And I say this with love, and you're probably thinking like, duh, Candice. I know I need better clients, but you can't just do more weddings for more money. And that's sort of the trap that a lot of planners fall into. You need weddings that are going to pay you more money. And if you're not finding the right people who can afford to pay you more, who can afford to help you grow a business that pays you six figures, and if you're finding that you're attracting people who just could never pay you at least whatever it is that you need for a wedding, it's going to be really hard to hit 100K. And so here are some things that you can do right now in order to up-level your clients. You can do a styled shoot that matches the work that you want to do. I'm a big believer in styled shoots. I think every planner should be doing at least one a year, if not more. You can diversify your marketing off Instagram and prioritize press and PR, trying to get featured. Even if it's in a small blog, that's great. It's a great place to start. You can start getting your work on Pinterest, start blogging using SEO. You can take my client cocktail, which is a $47 course where I teach you my framework, my blueprint for attracting better quality clients. I call it magazine-worthy clients. And in this course, I walk you through my exact framework for repelling the wrong and attracting the right. You can buy a template from my shop so that your shit looks legit. And when people inquire, you have the right pricing guide, you have the right onboarding guide or welcome guide. But you probably need to attract a higher level client. And that requires strategy, understanding who this client is, putting yourself out there in new ways, and likely doing things a little bit differently and more elevated than what you're doing right now. Now, the difference between planners who are making 50K and 100K is really positioning. And in my 100K Masterclass, I'm going to talk to you about positioning and how you probably have a positioning problem, because clients book planners who look like they charge premium prices. And so this means that your website, your branding, and your marketing needs to be premium. It needs to feel premium, not just look premium, but it needs to feel premium. So the answer to your question, can I match my corporate salary? Can I make 100K in my business a year? The answer is yes, of course you can. There are so many planners out there who are doing that right now, and they're doing it in so many different ways. If you're serious about making six figures as a wedding planner this year, then I would love for you to go and check out my free masterclass, the 100K Playbook, where I'm walking you through the 4 pillars of growing a successful six-figure wedding planning business. You can go to CandiceCoppola.com/100K to learn more, and I'll see you in the masterclass. All right, friends, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions about income, pricing, positioning, drop them in the comments section below, and I'll be sure to record a video answering your questions. And I've linked to some videos here that I think you should check out next, and I'll see you in the next video.